some of the snow is beginning to kind of thaw out a little bit, but this is just a nice clear ass freaking early morning, late night sky. So I don't know if the moon is waxing or waning, but in either case, it's not full, so don't have to worry about any kind of werewolf-related incidents. I just went back and watched a bunch of the Harry Potter movies. That was the inspiration for that little brain fart. But plan for this morning, early freaking lift is back. So I've got some back, and I'm not gonna go crazy. Not gonna go crazy at all. All I need to do, get a badass pump, pose down, leave, and that will be all. That's all I need to do right now, especially nearing 3 weeks out. Like I'm watching some of these guys, like I'm seeing Wesley working out, and I haven't seen a bunch of like Mike's training or so, but I feel like I'm backing off in the training a little bit more than they are. Not to say that's right or wrong. I'm just making an observation for me, because I feel like if I start really wrenching it, like this isn't even like a training ideology thing where I'm only just like basing my approach on like logical whatever. Like it really, if I come in today and I do like just too much volume with weight that's too heavy, like if I start really wrenching really heavy, seated cable rows and pull downs beyond like maybe just 220 on the stack, or like super heavy dumbbell rows or anything, I just start getting tweaks, man. My forearms start getting a little something in here. Like that's a little cue that I'm rowing a little bit too heavy. If I start using my forearms and they start getting worked, or I'll just get like little things all over the place. Like when I'm eating this little food, I'm definitely more subject to those kind of tweaks and things. So what that tells me is I want to come in a little bit more controlled, just a little bit more controlled with the training. But either way, I'm still basically just achieving all the goals that I'm aiming for from the training, which right now is just keep my size, get gradually leaner over time, and just repeat until show day. So another few weeks until then, but we'll see. Definitely some cable pullovers, definitely some lightish squeezing pull downs, maybe a little bit more rows. My last back day was very lat focused, like it was almost exclusively lat focused. Like actually I think I did a set of chest supported rows at the end. I don't know. Either way, we'll see. I got to get warmed up first once I kind of start moving around and feeling some weight and getting my rotator cuffs ready and my lats warm from just doing like alternating cable rows and cable pull downs and stuff to get everything kind of just, warm. That's going to be my indicator. That's my signal. That's my cue to say, all right, do I want to do this, or this? Or do I think this, and this will be a better setup? So it's not like I'm just coming into the gym to do whatever, but I'm basically just basing the plan of the workout off of how I feel in the beginning, and looking back at all the data of all my other back workouts in my mind that I can kind of remember, and say, okay, on a day where I felt like this, I have done maybe more heavy pull downs, maybe relatively heavy pull downs, or maybe more rows. Like today feels like a day where this and this is going to make the most sense. So it's not always so like quantifiable for me to explain, but it's kind of just using the training experience that I've accrued over the last, we're coming up on 8 years. It's going to be 8 years of lifting since I started, at least like dedicated weight training, going back to mid 2018. So I'm using all that time, and let's say I hit back twice a week. So that's what, like a third of, let's say like 2 years worth of back days. I'm going back in my mind and looking at all those 2 years of back days and thinking, okay, Sam GPT, what's a good back day given that I feel like this, and this? All right, calculating. Okay, do a set of cable pullovers, or some shit like that. That's kind of the process that's going on. But I think no more teasing at it. Let's just go get this back day started. All right, let's start with just single arm alternating pull downs. Not super heavy or anything. Actually, not really super heavy at all. 150 on the stack. Light enough that I don't even need to use straps. But also, I want to just use the handle itself so I can quickly switch between 5 reps on this side, 5 on this side. And the hard part, or the part that I'm trying to focus on, it isn't even like just moving the weight at all. It's when I'm at the bottom, especially with light weight like this, and I really squeeze, I can kind of feel my lower lat, like the lowest part where it ties in. I don't know if you can actually see it, but it comes down to a point right here. And I want to feel that part of my lat burning at the bottom of every rep. So by the time I've done maybe 30 on each side, I'll be able to rack it and say that was solid. I think you're ready for another one. Okay, put it up one more notch. All right. Okay. Ooh. Yeah. 2 more of those. Not the craziest set ever, but feels pretty freaking good. Yeah. Two. Okay. Ooh, one more, a little heavier. And now let's grab something else. I'm not sure what that something else will be, but we'll see. Ugh. Ugh. Ooh, okay. Let's do some pullovers. Let's do some single arm cable pullovers now. Same logic, a little bit faster, more pumpish reps, but still light enough that I can really squeeze each one. Oh. Okay. Okay. All right. I think let's finish with some pull downs. I can feel my traps are a little tender from doing shoulders yesterday. So today I'll be another lat focus pump. Let's see how this close grip pull down feels. So this is light, only 150 on the stack. So I'm actually going to try to, I always want to make the reps count, but really make these ones count because, it's not a ton of force. And I'm going to lean back a little to turn it slightly more rowish, but not like, full on row, if you feel me. Okay. One more of those. Slightly heavy. Let's do 170. I think that's going to be it. Then we can pose down. Yeah. Okay. Whew. All right. Let's see how back is looking. All right. Certainly not my longest or most insane back day ever, but the resulting pump, well, even just sitting here standing, I can feel it. Like my arms no longer like bump into my sides from the elbows down. They're kind of being extended outward from my lats. So even just right here, like they're just sort of free form floating around. But let's see a little through the shirt lat spread, just as a prelude to the full freaking thing. I feel like my waist has never been so like grabbable. Because right now, totally empty stomach, as lean as I've ever freaking been. And, well, I guess that kind of just is the combo itself. But let me make sure I'm right in the middle. Yeah, there we go. So even just one little glimpse of that through the camera zoom, that is a very cool amount of grain and texture in my lats, even for me. Yeah, there we go. Oh man. So what does that put me at? About 25 days out. So I've got 25 days, really more like 22 to like 20-ish to make any substantial like leanness changes. And then by then, it's over. There's not going to be much to do, nothing to really improve, apart from just making sure I carb up and don't spill over. But yeah, I mean, shit, that's like I feel like I'm seeing a little bit of lat striations way up top where it inserts underneath of these like little eye looking muscles. So those are like, you know, classic demon back, if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I feel like I haven't seen this much grain maybe ever. Let me try to do a little bit of like a breath holdy vein popping shot. Ugh. Holy crap. Okay. That just got me lightheaded. But that's all I got, man. So I set a little timer. That lift only took 45 minutes, not including the 5 minutes that I just went to the bathroom and then came back and set the lighting up. But yeah, man. I mean, I feel like I'm in a very good position for me, which is great. And I do not think that was by chance at all. I used my first prep in which I learned, all right, for one, this shit is freaking hard and it's going to take a lot of extra focus and attention. Like for me to bulk relative to doing a full-on bodybuilding prep, dude, the bulk feels chill. The bulk is like, oh, fuck. I gotta eat another bag of Skittles. Oh, man, I gotta have an ice cream sandwich to get a couple more extra carbs in. Oh, man, this is the hardest thing ever. Like, I'm not saying all my meals are like that, of course, but, geez. Yeah, to get super lean is definitely a different kind of beast. But since I've done it once, and actually, I mean, I've done it a ton of times, but never like this lean. This is only my second time around this level of like really cut up. But even after just that first time, which now I'm taking it even further, it's exactly what I've kind of said before about really anything in terms of your training. Once you've pushed yourself beyond a certain level and you've reached into new territory, well, now that new territory, you mapped it out, right? It's like you're going back to base, not to make another Minecraft reference, but you've already been there. You know what's going on. You know what it takes to get here. You know how easy or hard it's going to be. So all you have to do is push yourself a little further. Now you're into new territory again. Now, instead of hitting 225 for a single, 225 is your working weight. You know, now instead of, like, shit, I came to the gym 5 times this week. Hell yeah, which is sick. That is not like a light milestone at all. Well, it turns into, oh yeah, I haven't taken a rest day for like 3 months. I probably should, like it scales faster than you know, but it takes a while to get there. So it's not just like an overnight kind of situation. But I'm going to go ahead and get straight to the gym for some cardio, and then I'll see you in the car afterward, man. Very good freaking lift for 25 or however many days out I am now. I can't tell exactly. So if you know what I'm talking about, I've been using this anamorphic lens set. I got 2 of them, and whenever I look at the camera, I see everything that the camera sees, but like squished in half. So I got to go home and edit it to actually see what that pose down like really looked like. But just from seeing like my own reflection of my own reflection, that was a substantial jump from last back day, I think. Now, I wasn't as pumped as last back day. Like that was a good pump. That wasn't like what I'd call skin splitting pump level, which, to be expected. For one, that was a fasted workout, but also I only had 2,600 calories yesterday. 280 of carbs, 55 of fat, a little extra protein. So I wouldn't expect to come into the gym feeling like a total freak eating that much at my body weight. But, no, man, I mean, even with that being as pumped as ever, that was a freaking badass lift for me. So now all I get to do is go home, and I think I'm going to start cooking on the bike a little more. I might even go so crazy as to turn into an iPad kid and put like a video or something in front of me, or a movie. I don't know. Because now I'm going to do a few days minimum. Like I'm going to do the next 4 to 5 days. Instead of 45 minutes of cardio twice a day, I'm going to up it to an hour. So an hour morning session, hour night session, and then see how that kind of changes things. A little extra cardio would imply that I'm increasing my energy expenditure. So if I keep my food the same, now I've got this little bit of extra gap where I've got to make up for that energy difference from hopefully some internal body fat, and I don't want to drop my food so low that I feel like I'm really starving. So I think there is a balancing act that you have to play, but you shouldn't only think, all right, well, I don't want to do any cardio. Cardio kills gains. Let's just only minimize my food intake. And then, before you know it, that's where you hear a story of a guy eating like nothing, if he can even stick to that. So I've got a much easier time doing 2 good sessions of cardio and eating a little bit more food. And if anything, it makes me feel better in general, because now I'm eating more. I feel like I've got more food in my system. I'm physically more just, energized and kind of primed for recovery between training. The last thing I want to do is have to feel like I'm freaking starving. So by keeping my cardio high, or at least gradually higher, I think that's kind of done the trick. And 45 minutes twice a day, which I've been doing the last like 3 months, probably 2 months, I think. I don't know. I didn't track the like phases of my cardio. I've gradually ramped it up since I started this whole dieting phase back in like August, right? Doesn't that feel like a freaking while? It's been almost like 6 months, but slow and steady has been working very well for me. But yeah, 45 minutes twice a day has been working well. So now that it's just about time to really lock it in, try to get a little bit extra body fat off. Not a ton. There's really not that much left. I mean, last year when I competed, I could tell I had much more body fat on my glutes. Like if you just sit and flex your butt, just like you can feel anywhere else in your body, your chest, your quads, your abs, you can feel how much body fat you've got floating around. And not as much as then. That is, exactly, not as much as back then already. So I think a few extra hours of cardio in between, still sticking to my diet. There's no more refeeds now, at least no substantial refeeds. Like I had a couple of those like 5,000 calorie days. Like, no, now I'm going to remain in my flattened state for these next 2 weeks or so, and then I'll be able to adjust accordingly by then. So what I would like to see, and what I think would be a good situation, which, I mean, if I had to compete next week and I like right now was okay. I'm going to start loading water. I'm going to drop my food a little bit, flatten out, and then get ready to fill up. That would be fine. Like I wouldn't be as lean as I could be. Like I'm going to make use of these extra like 2-3 weeks, but that's kind of just like a gauge of what my leanness level is at. Shoot, what the hell was I about to say? I don't know. Either way, I'm in a very good position, I feel. Oh, wait. So come February 28th, so that's going to be a little more than 2 weeks away. So in about 2.5 weeks, if the scale reads about 280, and I feel as full as I am right now, so if I could get 2 more pounds of body fat off by then, that will be just about freaking solid. And don't forget the power of peak week, the power of, and it's really, I'm not even doing a peak week. I'm doing like a peak couple of days. So all I'm gonna do is lower my calorie intake a little bit for like 4 days pre-show. Not a little bit, like, you know, maybe by a few hundred, like stay on the flatter side of things. But I'm not gonna be training either. And I'm not going to do, 2 hours of cardio a day, so it kind of balances out with the energy expenditure. I'm going to burn less energy. I'm going to need less energy. Oh, excuse me. So, that'll be the plan then. And, crap. I keep losing my train of thought. Sorry, that sneeze just really threw me off my game. So come the last few days before the show, eat a little bit less food. Make sure my fluid intake is really high. Like the last, probably that week, I'm going to aim for about 2 gallons of water minimum. Really, even 3 gallons a day would be solid. So what that's going to do is basically put me into, just to put it bluntly, into pissing mode. And I'm just going to constantly be peeing throughout the day. Like, if not every couple hours, just like every hour. Maybe not that frequent, but just from getting that much fluid into your system, your body's like, all right, shit, well, you got a ton of water in here, man. You can get rid of some of this. You don't need it all right? So by drinking that much water for days in a row, I'm in this mode of like flush water because I have so much coming in. So the day before weigh-ins, or maybe even that night, I don't even have to take the whole day, but around like, maybe 4 o'clock before weigh-ins, I gotta find out exactly what time weigh-ins are gonna be. But maybe like, 18 hours before, 15 hours before, something like that, I'm gonna drink nothing. I'm gonna stop drinking so much water. So what that's gonna do is I'm gonna wake up and my body's still in this mode of like, get all this water out of me, but now I haven't replenished it, So I'm gonna be a little bit, not exactly dehydrated, because I'm still gonna feel solid, but I'm gonna be, I guess dehydrated is the right word, but not in the same sense of like I haven't drank enough water. You could just say low on fluids, because the water, like I'm gonna feel good, but a lot of the water in this, in between the skin and muscle layer, this subcutaneous layer, is gonna dry out. So I'm gonna wake up the day of weigh-ins, which is the day before the competition, lighter and much grainier and drier with a decently thin skin layer. And then after I've weighed in, and they make sure that I'm within regulation for my, I'm in the 5'11" to 6 foot weight category. So that means I have to be on the scale at no more than 227 pounds. Like if I'm 227 on the dot, that's cool. And after that, I can spend the rest of that Thursday carbing up, which is going to be the best. Like that's, by then all the work is over. I get to eat a bunch of food. I get to feel big and fucking full and get ready for a competition the next day at the Arnold, which is going to be freaking crazy. So it'll be fun. I'll do a few more kind of breakdowns of like how that's all going to look in terms of my like my sort of approach. But yeah, that's going to be the game plan. And just from that kind of, fluid manipulation and carb up phase, I will look as though I have somehow dieted for an extra 3 weeks in terms of how much thinner my fat layer will look, but also gained like 15 pounds of size, because all of my, kind of basically you'd call your muscle gas tanks that are full of, glycogen, sugar water, are all going to be freaking full, so it's going to be crazy. It'll, I guess, why hype it up now? We're actually going to see it in just a few weeks' time. But yeah, I'm not going to get too excited about that. I've still got a good chunk of cardio to focus on first. So it's like you got to eat your dinner before you get dessert. So let's focus on the task in hand before thinking about the fun part later. But I got to get some gas. 8 miles to empty, not good. But luckily Sheetz is only a quarter mile away, so I am freaking solid. But I swear to God, if the mic is on, oh my God, crap. Oh, that would have sucked. All right, good lift. I will see you tomorrow.